Battleground by Jim Butcher is the final book in the series. 17 books. It took me almost 6 months, probably more like 7 now, and I enjoyed the entire series. This one was the final battle and pitted all of the accorded nations against a titan. So this really wasn't about, you know, any story building. It was just all let's get to it. So there was a little bit of setup at the beginning, but I would say maybe only a handful of chapters, probably 5 chapters, and then it started. So, Final Battle, liked the series, liked this book. Uh, each of the characters really lived up to their expectations. They fit well in their interactions with each other, in that it started off, the previous book was peace talks where all the accorded nations got together and were trying to strike a deal with the formerly human. They were modified to be faster, stronger, that kind of thing. And it, devolved, and the Titan showed up and declared war on Chicago. And so this is how they duke it out. There were a few, just some minor things that I didn't like, not deal breakers in any sense. The Thomas Justine parts, I know that there needed to be some doubt and some speculation between the nations. It just didn't seem like the right way to do it. I don't really have any, it wasn't super strong feelings. It was just kind of like a weird, I don't know. I felt like there could have been something different, I guess. The Black Court, I liked the Black Court battle. If I was a vampire and there was an overwhelming force, I would probably run too. It just seemed like, they had what, like a chapter, whereas like the Red Court battle was, I don't know, 3 books, maybe more. So, it just seemed to me like there could have been a different way to go about that. I liked how strong they were, I liked their powers, but it just didn't seem like the right place, if that makes any sense. Either way, the last part was sneaking into the castle. I get that Harry needed to see his old lab. Like, I get that was a story arc that needed to happen. I felt like going down Dumbwaiter's shaft seemed to me like it was kind of Mission Impossible-esque, and I get that he can't use elevators, right? His magic would disrupt the electronics. I felt like there could have been like a loading dock maybe, or something to that effect that would have been a little bit more um, on point in my mind. So either way, again, those weren't deal breakers. None of it had to do with the final battle, or I mean, none of it was the final battle. So I really liked the final battle. The Conjuritis was a lot of fun. That was an interesting twist. I enjoyed that. I think Harry sneezed and summoned spiders, a wall, and an anvil or something like that. So always interesting and unique. This author has a very vivid imagination, and I enjoy that. Both Carlos and Ebenezer had some really cool battle scenes in here. Enjoyed that quite a bit. Both used fire, I think, and Ebenezer used some cool earth magic and shields and stuff. The Huntsmen as bad guys, that was really cool. A combination of 13 enemy beings who, when one dies, its power and size goes to the other, is spread among the others. So they progressively get larger, stronger, faster, all that stuff. And I really thought it was cool in that they lived and battled as a team. And even though they were bad guys and, killed and stuff, their spears were interwoven with, how they grew together. That was really clever, really cool, and made for some difficult enemies. River Shoulders being the Sasquatch, Harry gets a little bit of alone time with him to learn and stuff. And it was really neat, really interesting that River Shoulders, the Sasquatch, ended up being Listens to Wind's mentor. So that was really cool. I also liked that Molly really kicked butt in this one. There was a lot more parts where she could show off her power and skills as the new Winter Lady. And to me, that was really cool, right? She's been that way for maybe 2 or 3 books, and we haven't really seen much in her department. So that was awesome. Lord Baron Johnny Marcone, just, I don't even know how to describe it. He has been one of my favorite characters throughout this whole series, and he lived up to it. Just a great part. He, plays his part well as a human and more. It's great. Also Bob, my other favorite character, he comes in super clutch, awesome, and he's just so much fun. Two more real quick. The Valkyries, they were awesome. I don't know what to say. The illusions, the battles, the runes, they had their own type of power, and it was just really different from a regular magician. So very cool. I liked Odin. He was neat. His different personalities, I guess, for lack of a better word. And yeah, so the last two things were, I really had trouble with the former. I think it took me 2 books to figure out that that meant formerly human, that they were modified. And then the other thing that I can't remember right now is really just the pace. It wasn't a sit down and build up. It was a go, 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 full speed ahead. So this book was difficult to put down. I still want to stick with my favorites being Cold Days and Skin Game, but this was a great end to the series. The epilogue was good too. I enjoyed the visit from Santa Claus. So quotes real quick. No one expects an orbital drop grizzly bear. That was Harry talking about listens to wind, comes flying in as a grizzly bear. Mab was another good quote. That is a unicorn, not a rideshare service. That was another one that I enjoyed. And this one was a little bit more serious, but Ebenezer talking with Harry, the main character. The hardest part about power is knowing when not to use it. Really, this whole series has been about choices, and if the main character is becoming a monster or is keeping his humanity, or both. And really, that theme throughout this whole series has stood out to me with all the quotes and the struggles that Harry has. So he did actually lose control in this, and his friends stood by him. So that was very interesting. Another quote here, a little bit of a longer one. This is Harry questioning what Mab is doing. The whole time I'd been wondering what happens when she does. The far more terrifying question had never once occurred to me. What happens when she doesn't? Maybe the process of becoming something horrible wasn't about temptation to sin, forbidden delights, and bad impulse control. Maybe it was about choosing to throw your soul into a meat grinder over and over again until what remained couldn't even be seen as a soul any longer. Maybe the real monsters, the big bad monsters, aren't created. They're forged, hammered one blow at a time. I was mortal once. So Harry and Mab have had a number of interactions, and Mab, as his boss, has forced him to do things that he has been against his moral code. And he's always done it his way. He's said, I will get this done, but I'll do it, within my own choices. And that's been really cool, but it almost kind of makes you wonder, there's not a switch that's flipped. It's a slow process over time, becoming a monster per se and losing oneself. That fits in really well with the whole theme throughout the whole book series. And this last one here is also pretty good. I'm not saying pain is what defines us as human beings, but it is in many ways what unites us. We all recognize other people in pain. Near all of us have moved to do something about it when we see it. It's our common enemy, though it isn't really an enemy. Pain is, at least when our bodies are working properly, a teacher, a really tough, really strict, and perfectly fair teacher. And there's all kinds of different types of pain, and we've talked about it in previous books. There's emotional pain, physical pain, and part of the fact that the main character gets beat up every single book over and over again, it's meant to be a teacher, and I do like that. You stick your hand on a stove and you learn real quick not to do that when it's hot. So, them being pain, using pain as a teaching tool, it is on point, and we as humans do learn that way. Um, but it is something that defines all of us. We all should experience pain. As far as I know, most people do, and so that is something that we have in common. But yes, this is a book series that I enjoyed. I connected with it. I knew about some of the places because I live in the Midwest, so Chicago really isn't something that you hear about or read about when reading science fiction. So that was pretty on point. The whole detective opening and overall, like having a family and stuff like that, it really was an easily relatable book for me. And I enjoyed all the magic, how it was emotion based, and really there was preparation and recovery time. Nothing was free. Everything was earned or, costed something. And to me, that was really, really cool. This was a great series. I enjoyed it quite a bit. So, as always, buy your books used if you can.